Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Welcome to another episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better. In this episode, we are going to be bringing you the tools, strategies, and insights to level up your business, and with a must-listen episode for anyone for anyone looking to understand how tech and data can accelerate your entrepreneurial journey. Our guest is someone who has been at the forefront of software development and innovation. He's the CEO and founder of Particle 41, a dev firm made up of industry veterans dedicated to helping scaling move faster and smarter through software development, DevOps, and data sciences. If you're ready to learn how to scale your business, leverage data, and streamline your process with the latest tech, then this episode is for you, because we have the legendary Ben Johnson on the podcast. Ben, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Phil. It's great to be here today.
Ben, I'm excited to talk to you about everything you're doing at Particle 41, but also, more importantly, about your journey as an entrepreneur. So we're going to start with the first question. Why did you become an entrepreneur? What made you decide to jump into this crazy world of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I think entrepreneurship is the greatest way to, obviously to make money on your own terms. So my very first job, I think I was 12, I started my paper route. And I could deliver the paper, I could go collect the money, and I could go afford the latest kicks and live life the way I wanted to. I didn't have to depend on my parents for those things. So I think some Nike Airs, and then a Nintendo Entertainment System. Of course, I'm dating myself here a little bit, but those are things I wanted, and I didn't want to wait for somebody else to give them to me.
So your first real venture into entrepreneurship was the paper route. Like most great entrepreneurs, they start with the small things. What was your next venture after, when you started aging up, getting into, high school and college and university and that? What were some of the entrepreneurial ventures that you went through?
So in high school, we junior high and high school, we were messing around with the Commodore 64, right? We couldn't do there. It wasn't instant messaging. And so to see some of these things come out as we're graduating high school, I'm coming out of high school, going into college during the dot-com boom, and just seeing how awesome it is for things to go from phone calls and walk-in visits into on-prem stores to now online. And so the first real professional job was with a company that was just doing exactly that, helping people put their catalogs online, e-commerce platforms. But when I really sunk my teeth into my first venture, it was an online travel company. And that online travel company was based in Odessa, Texas, so not a place that you would typically think of a tech company coming from. And we got to basically build the internet. I mean, we got to build a data center in Odessa, Texas, because the cloud didn't exist. And we wanted to take a travel agency that was right next door, and we wanted to bring them online. We wanted them to be able to take ticket orders from an e-commerce experience. This all sounds super trivial now, but back then it was not. And we were, we were trying to figure out things that just weren't widely available.
You were, like you said, you were building the internet, building into what it is today, this amazing entrepreneurial, pretty much a dream, if you will. If you look at it, there's unlimited resources for you on the online versus the material world. With you building this data center, in essence, building the first e-commerce store for travel agencies in Odessa, Texas, because that's the height of travel destinations, if you will. Did you realize that you were going down the entrepreneurial path, or were you just like, oh, this just seems like a regular career path?
I realized that we were, I think there's always something entrepreneurial. So you can be entrepreneurial or you can be intrapreneurial. They both have the same substance. And so even early when I was in my career, I was thinking of the whole business, not just and how I fit into it so that I could understand my purpose better and what kinds of things I needed to learn. So even though my primary role was to write code and do the software, I still wanted to be aware of what was going on at a business level. You know, how much money we were making and what did the bottom line look like, and have that kind of business mindset. And I think that's, you can be entrepreneurial, but inside of a business. So there's a name for that. It's entrepreneurial. And I think that was always there. And then with each role I took after that, I was able to have more of a place in the room, right? We call it, you know, in my current business, we call being in the boardroom to the code review, and really seeing that the full end-to-end life cycle of bringing software products online. And yeah, so it all involved there. I don't know if when you're that early in your career, I don't know how conscious you are, because now I have the all the things that have happened since then to bias me. But yeah, I think I've always wanted to understand the business, because with my paper route, I understood the business, right? I wanted to relate everything to that. How much money can I collect? How much money did I make? How many subscribers do I have? That was all part of it.
I love it. I love how you went entrepreneurial with your first venture, and then you're like, wait, I may not know everything. So you went entrepreneurial and learned more about running a bigger business. Because the paper route, as big as a business it is for a 7 to 12-year-old, it's a very simple business to run. Very small numbers and your overhead is pretty much you until you start hiring people. But when you went into building this data center and learning more about that side of the business and helping businesses do that, when did you feel you were ready to be the boss, to be the CEO, the founder of a business?
So I've had the opportunity to grow about 5 businesses from start to exit. And normally I would join a partner and sit in the technical co-founder seat. So this just happened kind of continuously through each role, where I would come in earlier and earlier until um, I think about 10 years ago, a buddy of mine, we were talking. We started talking, and he's like, I bet you that your LLC is not in good standing with the Secretary of State. He had identified this issue where a lot of entrepreneurs, they form their business with their legal, wherever they live, they go file their LLC, and they don't keep up with the things that you need to keep up with. It's not just automatically known to entrepreneurs, these compliance obligations that you have. And so sure enough, I went and Googled my company name, and I had gotten into a default status with the state of Texas. Easy thing to solve if you know.
Mhm.
Like if you know, right? And so I went back and like, well, hey, how can we help people? We noticed there were a lot of websites helping folks with the initial formation, but not a lot of people helping manage these corporate entities throughout. And so we created Legal Inc. And in 3 years, we sold it to LegalZoom. And in that journey, that quick 3-year journey, my partner was able to focus on finance and raising money and helping us grow quickly from a back office perspective. And I was able to really see the full product development life cycle. So really own product and tech and see how it was being sold and see the entire exposure of the brand into the market. And was able to build a partnership strategy that was super successful and really have a complete ownership. So after doing a tour of duty with the acquirer, with LegalZoom, I really realized that now it was time to take all that I had learned across all 5 start to exit experiences that I have, and really sit down and write a playbook for CTO advisory. And we had already started to build teams for folks from our network, from the travel company, from the next couple of ventures. People were calling myself and my partner in Particle 41 and saying, hey, could you put a team together for us? So we were already at about a dozen teams when I really jumped in full time. This was in 22, beginning of 22. And so we just went all in. And so what we've done is we've taken all those patterns for success and we have put them into the service that Particle 41 offers.
And what is the overall service that Particle 41 offers, so that people are hearing can understand how your journey culminated, that they can see, oh, these small little things that I'm doing can culminate into a big business that Particle 41 is.
Yeah. So what we do is we help folks deliver digital products or processes to their business. So Particle 41, the name, is named after niobium, which is the 41st element in the periodic table, right? And
Mhm.
when combined with steel, it makes it more flexible and it makes it stronger. And so we've created a technology partnering solution. So we're a technology partner that covers everything from the CTO advisor, which I do a lot of, and a couple of other people that I work with that have 20 years experience like me. We become the advisor for the business and we help them all the way from the boardroom to the code review. So we also put a world-class team together and we help them accelerate and build strong, flexible products. And so whether you're a SaaS company and you need to build out that SaaS tool, or whether you're a just need a digital product, or you need to enhance your internal platform for whatever your core competency is, we have an established pattern of success for building digital platforms that help you accelerate, become more flexible, maybe even look a little better to your customers.
I love that. I love that. You guys are the polished version of people, helping them take to the next level. And like you said, like the 41th element, you make things flexible, making them better by combining their steel with your resolve, and becoming a better version of themselves, stronger, more flexible to withstand some of the craziness that some people can see in the pipeline coming down the way in the economy, and that, and what it looks like with the favorite times that we are right now. Um,
Yeah.
with everything that you do, Ben, I'm curious, is there one habit that you have found that has helped you attain the success that you have?
Oh man, it's a lot of accumulated habits. I don't know if there's one, but waking up at 5:30 probably is the first and foremost. Like no snooze button. 5:30 wake up. So what I operate by is four pillars: faith, family, fitness, and finance. And I think they're all of equal importance. And I don't think balance is the correct term. It's more of like counterbalance. Like you have to make all four of these things counterbalanced against each other by doing things in all four pillars. And so I can knock out faith and fitness in the first couple hours of the day by waking up a little earlier and having an established morning routine. So I think, for folks that are feeling anxious or depressed, shift that time up and get some stuff done right away in the morning, and just watch the anxiety and depression, start to come in line with something more manageable. I just think that that is essential for making sure that you've moved, making sure that you've had some thinking time, some faith based meditation, and you've really kind of connected with yourself and your own personal needs, and then you can go rule the day and start helping other people with their needs.
I love that. I love having that four pillars. It's very important for everyone to at least have pillars that they can stand on, and they can um, become a better version of themselves. When did you realize the importance of having those four pillars in your life to make yourself a better Particle 41, if you will?
Yeah. It really started a couple of years ago. I There's a mastermind group that I'm a part of called Rise Up Kings, and they really put a name to that. And I went to one of their 3-day events and kind of did a reset. Got a reset. Met some other business owners that were like-minded, and that was super helpful. That event was super helpful in kind of breaking up, because when we have these ideas of who we want to be, but we don't put the steps forward to do them, that gap is, like, we refer to that gap as shame, right? You're kind of dealing with that because you're not living in alignment to who you are committed to being. And so to have a reset or just take a break, and then come back and start to put those things in place and stop compromising and living unaligned to those, to your core principles, really helps, to just know who you are and feel like a complete person, that you are doing what you say you do. And so doing some of that deep identity work really helped with just how I feel about myself, how I feel about my team, and what I think we can accomplish together.
I like that. I like that. I want to jump into the future. I always like looking into the future, Ben, because it's always very interesting, especially with someone who has a breadth of experience that you have, building, 5 businesses, exiting those 4 to 5 businesses, sorry, and being the professional and the openness that you have. I want to know, in 10 years, where is Ben Johnson? What is Particle 41? Is it still thriving? Is it been one of your other exits and you started a new business? What is Ben doing? What is the world of Ben looks like?
Sure. So, what I love about most, so obviously Particle 41 we would love for it to continue to grow, help more businesses, both through our own organic, introductory efforts, but also through acquisition. So we'd love to be the system and the core for, for growth by acquisition, because we do really think that our culture is special, and I believe that there are folks that would love working with us and kind of combining forces. And so that's definitely something that we're interested in. But what I love most about being at Particle 41 and what I do, like focusing on fractional CTO and kind of CTO advisory, is I get to talk to CEOs about the whole person. So not just about their business challenges, but about what drives them, maybe false beliefs that might be holding them back. And I really love, I think it's an overused term, but this idea of coaching.
Mhm.
I really enjoy the coaching that I get to do. And then adding this technology component to that, which might not be a core module for the CEO. So I see in 10 years that I am still very much engaged with a bunch of CEOs, helping them drive their technology forward, and also helping and coaching them on the whole person. So as I, by then I'll be practically 60, and then there's going to be a whole generation of up and coming CEOs that I would love to help, just understand how to have successful family lives, successful businesses, and attain their goals, attain their dreams.
Is there something on your business bucket list or your personal bucket list that you are adamant that you want to achieve in your journey as a entrepreneur?
Um, I think more being the voice of a particular, just there's something that I'm really interested in. It's, and one of my buddies and I want to do this together, but it's this idea of kind over nice, and it'll probably turn into a book. But I think a lot of times we're centered on being nice, which is really, comes from a selfish thing. Like I just want people to like me. I want to be nice so that they're obligated to help me. This idea of niceness, can be, I'm kind of painting that as a negative, where kindness is the positive. So kindness, if you had food on your face, I would tell you. Kindness is, hey, I need to tell you something that might be uncomfortable, but it will help you in the long run. Kindness is, hey, I'm experiencing you as arrogant. Do you know that you might be coming off that way, right? Like, being willing to say something strong like that, that can be one of the kindest things. I've had people help me by giving me real feedback. And I think that is true kindness. Being kind enough to confront, or caring enough to confront someone, um, is kind of key. So I think there's a body of work there where we could put some details around that. And I think um, a lot of business people are trying to go through the world nicely instead of kindly. And I just think that there's a little bit of a difference there.
I
Actually, almost a polar opposite.
I am in full agreement with you. I use the term good versus nice, like, because a good person, it will follow the rules, will not upset the apple cart, whereas a kind person might be someone who will upset the apple cart every once in a while because they want this kindness, this to help you throughout, whereas a good person may necessarily not. So I love how you're doing the nice and kindness. It's something that I really agree with, and I look forward to that book when it does come out, because I'm going to love to take a read at it and see how it can be a better version of myself. um, with your decades worth of, give me a second, I had the question here. There we go. Here it is. Since you're a veteran in the digital industry, and software development and DevOps, what are some of the biggest trends you've noticed in this area that you think entrepreneurs should start paying attention to if they're moving into this software DevOps lifestyle?
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, AI is coming up in the conversation a lot. We're looking at AI as a way of both accelerating the software development process, but we're doing that very collaboratively with the client. So, like, the client knows where AI is being used and how we're using it. The danger of that, though, is we still need to understand how the internet was built. So there are concepts like um, IP topography and how to number your systems with IP addresses. And these things aren't, like, a lot of professionals are working on modern software applications, and they've never configured a switch, because they just go to the cloud and they just say, yes, add new. And there's default configurations, and oh, it works. So I don't need to go adjust the configurations because the mouse clicks worked. And so we're changing a lot of that by making sure that there's a roadmap of fundamentals that our teammates go through, so that they understand what's being abstracted by the latest tools. So the tools will continue to abstract and layer, and AI, in fact, is like the big abstraction on top of all this past research and past body of knowledge, to produce new written materials quickly. And so we still have to understand, what got us there and what's feeding kind of feeding the beast, if you will, and not start learning from use it as a reference in addition to some of the traditional knowledge and training. Um, and then I would also say that the data overhead on a business is becoming huge. We can go subscribe to a dozen or more systems, and we've even created, like, the periodic table of business tools, right? Kind of true to our name. That's inspired by the periodic table. And we love to talk to folks about, okay, well, what solutions are you using for your CRM? What are you using for your accounting software? What are, see these different vertical categories of tools. What choices have you made? And then we pull all those elements out and create their unique particle. Like, what are their business tools? And then we map the user experience over their choices. And so we're able to identify gaps. Maybe they're struggling with sales, but they don't have a CRM. Well, okay, there's some room here to complete your unique particle, and perfect your customer experience, find customers better, manage that onboarding process, those kinds of things. And so we want to help folks kind of guide through that. But as you're doing all these business tools, they all produce data. And then you need to figure out if your employees are leveraging them to the full extent they can. And employees need to be tracked, not in a micromanaging way, but in a, hey, people like us do things like this, right? Like we check into this tool every day to check to see if there's any sales follow-ups. We do these sorts of things. Each role kind of has a set of success dependent habits. And so being able to really like track that as a leader becomes like a Herculean task. Like to get the data that you need brought to you in a dashboard is really heavy. So I think that overhead, the data overhead, is becoming a real thing, even for SMBs, like even for the smallest of business, being able to see what all of your tools are doing and have that at your fingertips is becoming a big barrier.
Do you see Particle 41 being able to solve that? Also, I love the fact that you create a periodic table and really just go hone in on the brand of being a Particle 41, like being particleized. I just have to say I love that marketing, and whoever came up with that marketing strategy or whoever did it is a genius. But yes, I forgot my initial question.
No, so we love to help. What we tend to do though is we tend to go back to the basics. So the book, The One Thing, and then, kind of going back, I love our EOS friends that really have a good framework, like mapping out accountability, figuring out what each role is supposed to do, starting to show people what roles they fit into. But the roles are generally like you're always accountable for more than what you're doing today. So you have to grow, you have to become your role. And so then, okay, well, what are your 90-day targets? And so really the tracking of it for the beginning, like most businesses are not tracking the core functions of their business. They're kind of like putting their finger up in the air. And so we found that just that like operation mechanics, once in a while we'll come across a business that maybe they have EOS people already involved in the business, or they've kind of established their core operating metrics. And then they're usually looking for some level deeper of data. And so we help them collect that data into a data lake or a data warehouse, or this new thing called lakehouse architecture, and then put visualization on top of it. So all that was like super nerdy, but we make it easy. Like we know exactly how to pull all that together so that the CEOs who are making the investment in data and business intelligence can get that one sheet of glass, that one pane of glass that has all the most vital information on it. But I found a lot of times you have to start with, what is it that we want to track? What are our goals? What are our KPIs? And then just build from there to make it easier and bring it to the forefront.
I love it. I love it. Ben, uh, we touched on what you do to invest in yourself, that morning routine, that, take the time to figure out what you want, those 4 pillars. I'm going to go back in time because we are coming to the end of the episode, which I hate because I'm having a great time learning about you and Particle
Me too.
41, Ben. This is one of the downsides of being a podcaster. You get to meet so many amazing people, but in such a short amount of time. What I have your 10-year-old self here. He just came back from his bike route. He's hyped up. He's ready. He sees that you're a success. What's one piece of advice you would love to be able to hand back to your 10-year-old self?
So, my 10-year-old self, he was definitely not picked first in gym class. Um,
I don't think most entrepreneurs were.
No, he wasn't picked first in gym class. But I would just tell him that I want him on my team. I want him on my team and that I choose him. And so I would just reassure him of that. And also that, like, the haters aren't going to matter one little bit. That what you believe is what you believe about yourself, and the meanings you take from things. One thing I say, if you can't take a picture of it, it doesn't exist. So a lot of times circumstances will occur, people will react or respond in a certain way, and then we assume all this meaning from that, or we take meanings from that. And most of the meanings are not true. They're not real. And so we can actually say, well, is that really what that meant? Or can I actually change the meaning of it to something that better suits me and serves me better? So I would just, I would love to teach my 10-year-old self about that. I don't know if 10-year-olds are really, I have a 10-year-old son, so maybe I'll give it a shot. Um, but I would just say, hey, I choose you. You can be on my team, and we'll definitely do well at the overall game.
I love it. It's a great piece of advice. And I think every 10-year-old needs to know that they would be chosen for the team first. Ben, I'm going to jump off stage here. I want you to let my audience know where they can connect with you if there needs some Particle 41 in their life or in their business, and anything else you're willing to offer them. The floor, sir, is yours.
Sure. Well, I would just invite any of you to go to my website, particle41.com, or find me on LinkedIn. There's a book appointment link on both places. Book an appointment with me. I would love to talk to you. I love working with CEOs and business leaders and helping them map their technology vision and accomplish their goals. And I am easy to reach, easy to spend time with, and I just really want to extend my 20 years of experience to what you're trying to accomplish. So don't hesitate. Reach out and connect with me. Book a meeting and let's collaborate.
Amazing, Ben. Ben, I want to thank you so much for being here. I had a thoroughly enjoyable conversation with you, and I truly believe that you are the living embodiment of the actual Particle 41, helping people become more malleable, more bendy, instead of being so rigid in life. So I want to thank you so much for being here.
Great. Thank you, Phil. I really appreciate it.
To my audience, if you're looking to add a bit of Particle 41 to your life, make sure you check out the show notes down below to connect with Ben and obviously Particle 41, his business, so that you can take your business and your level of expertise to the next level and handle what's coming down the pipeline by checking those show notes. I thank you very much for listening. And as always, remember to invest in yourself.